Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to Team Fortress TV. We've got some more 6v6 Premiership action for you tonight. Is it week 4? Is it week 5? No one's really sure. Apparently, yesterday's game was week 7. So the calendar's all out of whack, but we do know that we've got two potentially very strong teams here tonight. We've got Forfence, the Frenchies, as you'll know, and Witness Gaming are their opponents. I'm Dave, joined by Dr. _ behind the camera, and Dumb Tongue alongside me. How you doing?
Yeah, like you said, times doesn't matter anymore. It's still July, apparently. Summer never ends. We're Phoenix and Ferb in here, and this is going to be an interesting one because we haven't seen a whole lot of these teams just yet, especially for fans who have been doing well in the games they've played, especially with the knowledge of hindsight, how some of the teams that they did beat so far have been doing in comparison, making them look fairly easy in the most part. I think they beat TLR and Virtus Bra, who both had just close games all around, I think losing most of them, but still just like incredibly close battles all around, except for their Forfence games, which have been fairly dominant wins here. Witness, of course, coming off the choke in week 1, but since then, just like 20-minute maps each time, I think, made Gada and Wheelchair look really easy. This will be a big one right now. Forfence is, with the limited results we have right now, currently like on pace to make a playoff spot for sure, but yeah, I mean, if you want to go anywhere in playoffs, you got to get past these guys, right?
Yeah, for sure. I remember, a few seasons back when we had that Witness Gaming side with Mac that came in and struggled that one season. They kind of lost that first game, and then it kind of just descended from there, and they ended up folding, I think. This Witness Gaming roster is obviously very different. They're a lot longer established. They've won more titles. And I think there were some questions whether it was going to be, whether they have kind of degraded or not. But it seems to be, from what we've seen, that Mandem are just a very, very strong side, that were able to beat them week 1 and will probably contest them in playoffs. And that everyone else has to kind of reach that level or not, or they'll just get rolled. And, I think this Forfence side is maybe the 3rd best side in Prem from what we've seen. It's still relatively early days. But yeah, so I think if anyone is going to kind of punish the slip-ups we've seen from Witness, other than Mandem, maybe this Forfence side can do it, but I still think, Witness are likely to be heavy favourites tonight.
Yeah, certainly the how in this matchup matters, even if it's maybe a win for Witness in the end. Certainly interesting to see here if Forfence wants to have a chance at even 2nd place, let alone any more than that. Coming out of this one looking like a contender matters already quite a bit. Still have some time to figure it out from there, of course. Either way, playoffs not quite happened yet. But like I said, Witness came out with the preseason a little bit weak, but picked up the pace a little bit. There was the debate if they still got the fire in them, I suppose. And with LAN coming up, certainly the energy is back online. They, I think, signed up for the quarterfinal on the weekend as well. I don't know who else will be showing up for that one, but I mean, if you get easy tickets, then that's one way to get them, right? Want to have that land secured for themselves here, nice and easy. So what a time to just go back on peak form, I guess.
Yeah, and we can, guess we talk about the maps. Do we know for sure what the 2nd map is yet?
It should be Product and Snakewater. They're on Product right now, so that's our map 1 for sure. Both teams pre-game scrimmed Snakewater. In the event that it's like weird because everyone's scrimming different maps because of the map picks this season, it might still be possible, but very unlikely because realistically it wouldn't be both teams scrimming it. So Snakewater probably the map 2, and you already mentioned, right? You're surprised by what you're seeing here on the maps.
Yeah, I think usually the caster wisdom that I hear from the smart people like Wondam and Lucky, who are much smarter than me, we usually say don't play Product against Witness, but for whatever reason, Forfence have decided to either not ban it. Maybe there's another map they really don't want to play, or maybe they just fancy a bit themselves. I don't know if they have I guess they have Shay as a sniper option, right? So maybe that's something that they could pull out. But Witness have always looked very, very strong on this map.
Yeah, Frenchies very much could have banned this map, but apparently, if both peak TF2 Easy / Nerd Rage and peak Throw Attack aren't enough to beat them on this map, surely the Frenchies have the better chance here, or so they think. Let's see if they're right on this one. Witness Gaming is back on the red, Forfence on the blue, fighting out for French Premiership representation here in this not week 5 game, and we're heading into mid-fight. Bombs across already. Frenchies just landing behind, well aware of that. You just fall back with the scouts, take them out pretty easily, I suppose, but in the end it's 2 down each, so the players behind still caught them a little bit of a surprise, got them a lot of space here, and the Witness Gaming tries to get back on point. Ixie down early, just focused down right away. Nice stuff by both the blue scouts, and suddenly this might just work out for them.
Yeah, there's no fear there from Witness Gaming, despite losing Domo pretty early. He kind of got isolated, got killed off, but they still just went forward with their scouts. And now Alien's actually been knocked very, very low. The cap did come in for 4 fence. It's starting to tick down, but not too many casualties, just a soldier down still. Once more for either side, we'll have to see. Uber's up for both sides, we'll see what Witness are going to attempt here.
Losing a couple of people late is annoying, but at least they still clean up for the most part here. The chase on the medic will not succeed. Auto gets out just fine, and we have nothing left standing for offenses. Just lost too many people to really contest the point much longer. Short stay on cap as well after the first one here. 30 seconds, all they're getting. Caps coming through nicely. Do realize the late for Domo. Sometimes you have to adjust a little bit after playing maybe some bagel here and there, that the cap line here is a little bit different in case of delaying for spawns. Not a big deal just yet though. Early in the round still, wouldn't lose too much. Domo up either way, and it's a question of how the Frenchies want to play the Uber situation now, and it looks like just go in right away, not any beating on the bush, just trying to take the charge in, as it so often goes here. However, have a much worse Uber in comparison, have to dip a little early here, trying to make up for it on the flank, but trying to just rush all their players into the backline backfires tremendously.
Yeah, it's the second time in a row now they've just hard committed onto that flank, but Witness have been ready for it, and now it's only Alien and Juxta alive, and Tomas is whistling Alien down. He's very low. Alien got a crucial arrow in the middle of that. Tomas is still alive, actually, and it's going to pick up Rutschman. That was a 10 health, 15 health scout against a nearly full health soldier, and he's able to win that. That's just how dominant Tomas is, particularly on that scout class. And it's not the worst scenario in the world for 4 fence, but they're going to have to repush with a bit of an Uber advantage, but it's losing so many players.
There we go. Big bomb. Harpy Domo just pumping so much damage into the combo there. Counters-attacks are coming out. They need this medical so bad now after losing down, and looks like Jerome Bushman just about do enough here to clutch this back around. Will be able to clean up the combo. Will get the medical, most importantly. Juxta did just die seconds earlier. Make sure of that. So it's not big advantage, but at least it's confidently not this ad as well. And Cylinder still gets that rocket. Oh no, never thought. There's no chance that one hits me at all. Nope. Not with that guy.
Yeah, that's a big value pick as well, because Niver's not going to be up for quite a while now. They're going to look to hold on to the point. Pappy's still getting himself arrowed and healed and buffed up, and now Butchman with a little bit of a fake bomb just to provide a bit of a nuisance. Duo as well is thinking about going in behind. There's so much fake and there's so many feints on the field at the moment, but suddenly Witness are starting to apply a little bit of pressure to the point, looking to knock Alien back. He's still got his stickies up ready, he's still knocking people off that point. Domo's looking to go forward at the moment, but it's very kind of back and forth, just skirmishing. No one's super committing yet.
Yeah, not going too bad here at all. Frenchie's still keeping point with 2 down each. It's a bit awkward since you do have worse spawns, but there's still a good chance you can keep your ground, especially if you just find the right opportunities here. Papi just a step ahead of the rest of the team, immediately focus down. That's the kind of things you need to see while you're on the cap itself, having to deal with worse spawns. He keeps the numbers even for so much longer and makes it so much harder for Witness to get any counter value on the cap. And in all this, they reclaimed the lead here on the clock, only a little bit for now, but any second counts of the game seemingly this close already. Falling back a little bit here, just taking a bit of a beating, especially the medic Jux. I don't want to be in risk of just dying to a random pipe flying across the point. So playing safely for a while, but once they have healed up a little bit, the push comes across. They do see the time, they do feel a bit pressured on that one. Don't want to just give up the cap here. So Uber's coming out, play around that one a little bit here. No one's taking too much position out of it. That's not too bad if you're already in the cap as well. It's on Witness now to really find the move. Papi across, trying to find one here. Solentis with the follow-up right on the medic, and the scouts over the point, cleaning up quite nicely from there. All falling into place perfectly for Witness Gaming.
Yeah, Che now he's going to go one pick onto Silver. He's going to get cleaned up, and it ends up shaking out very well for Witness. It looked a little bit questionable for quite a while. They're trying to bait the cap out. They're just trying to cap it in front of a demo man who was fully buffed and fully loaded and just continually putting pain down on them. But finally, they see an opportunity, they commit. They go in with the soldiers for the big bomb, take out the medic, and now they have a bit of an Uber advantage, but crucially they have the point back in their favour.
No big damage right away, but it's getting them space. It's not getting them really good value on the numbers here. A couple of people are weak, but if you're 2 down afterwards, it's just not going to matter much. They're going to repush after a couple of arrows either way, and quick they are as ever. With this gaming right back on point, get the Demoman as well. Alien Smiley going down, and it's a recap in no time at all, and suddenly this little lead they got out of the previously good-looking point position has kind of just evaporated into nothing at all here, and having to deal with a fourth spawn camp position now is gonna be a little bit annoying as well. Bust up the Pyro. Never trying to hit stuff. Ooh, barely doesn't get the reflect on the medic. The rest of them just double down on that one though. They saw the chance, get on that right away. It's good to have the out of the equation early. We'll still waste some time before their numbers up again, but that deals with the forward hold as much as possible anyway.
When Shay gets caught out as well, they're not sure whether they want to use the Uber or not. They'd surely have to wait for spawns now. Alien's going to go very, very low, but they are able to claim Thomas, and Alien will be able to reset. They will be able to push out. It's still a forward hold up for Witness. They know they're forward holding against the potential Uber coming out, but they're buying so much time for themselves.
Yeah, Papi just buys him enough space here probably to get away with for the most, but also still a little weak. Has to be careful here. Bombs across by Dwarf, finds the Demo Man. That's a decent pick. Should get them to camp here, but Witness just playing around Uber situation, right? They have 40 seconds. That's enough to build an entire Uber. They already have 60%. They don't need much more than that. They just need the numbers. 4 fans similarly so aware of the situation going on here. They need something quick, and they're going in deep and finding all they need. Shay behind as well. If the bombs weren't good enough, they had an ace in the hole here. That works perfectly.
Yeah, that was great. Just identification of what their win condition was. They knew they had the picks. They knew that Witness had that Uber advantage, but Four Fence just held W off the picks that they had, made sure they took the medic, and now they can take a fight with a heal advantage and with an Uber advantage potentially as well, but only 5 seconds left.
Yeah, if this goes double overtime, they have to safety net, but Drax is down weak already here at the beginning of it all. It's going to be tough to even get that charge up, and they have to block the point very much. If they give this up, it's over, but they're losing so many so quickly. Witness's focus were just impeccable to get this fight started, and it looks like it will just go their way on pure DM alone.
Yeah, that was honestly just Witness out-DMing their opponents in a like crucial final fight. Four Fence did their best to bring it down to that situation, but unfortunately it seemed like Juxta got a little bit lost. He ended up being connected with no one to heal, and you can see why Witness are the champions that they are and why they've won so many times. They just have that teamwork, they just have that focus fire.
Oh, it came down to an incredibly small margin. 4 fans, Witness, one of them makes one more big mistake and the other team's just going to run away. But by the looks of it, really solid performance all around. But Witness Gaming playing this mid-fight a little bit more passive than their opponents, and it might just work out in the end. Do leave Solentis in the end here, but found the early kills with Bushman to still make this a fight worth fighting for. At the very least, have a player behind as well that 4 fans keeps trying to make happen. Papi struggling a little bit as well, but he lasted a lot longer in the backlines, which still turns more heads in the end. Keeps the fight going for a while. Big focus while the Thomas trying to bait point, but they're just nuking him down right away. And they're not done just yet. Once again, a bit of a chase being attempted here. Looks like we see very early though. Alien's bomb doesn't go all that deep in the end. Systematic already has disappeared at that point, so at least they know the limits here a little bit. That's always very important right now as they're falling back while there's still something to fall back into.
Yeah, going for like a mini forward hold actually also dropped very, very low there, but they're not going to be able to finish him off. But again, the Frenchies will be happy with that cap. They're starting to get some cap time in, but so far this hasn't worked out too well for Witness Gaming. This time the beam is actually on Thomas on the cap, but they're going to actually use out. I think Auto was forced just with spam coming into him. It's going to be a much longer and better Uber for the Frenchies, and they block the cap and they tick the timer down while all this is happening.
Yeah, that makes up for the late cap they got on the mid-fight very much. So already down 30 seconds here. Should still get a little bit more out of this fight, but that's not accounting for them just winning the fight here, which not quite. Domo against Alien on a 1v1. Alien just too weak, had a scout back up there. The Red Demo Man as well. Big bomb there. Clean up, Neville doing good damage. Will get another killer. That's one tough to make up for Demo loss in the middle of a fight like this as well, but they're trying anyway to delay this fight for as long as possible, but eventually they're just getting a little bit outdone here on the damage department. We've seen it at the end of last round once again, just long fight, but Witness coming out on top just barely, not with much of any advantages to spare, but that really is, the timer isn't bleeding anymore.
Yeah, first time in a while they've really been able to punish Alien Smiley. They haven't been jumping and bombing and really pressuring him too much, and that's made it very, very difficult for them to just stand on the point. But again, you can see Alien not on the beam. It's just peppered down from long range, and it makes it difficult for them to approach.
Yeah, there's the recap attempt now with one down. They're trying anyway. Neville's already died. They got to make the most of this one here. Falling back at this point, kind of not the greatest option either. As Witness is already very willing to take this fight to them with the Uber if it has to be the case here. They just want more time on the clock, and they're getting it for now at least. Very uneventful end of this Uber charge, but that's just more benefit to Witness. 4 fans didn't see an option to refight that at all, and they're just getting so much value this first cap of their own here. Minute down already, caught up on time. In no time at all. He has the bombs are coming in. Draw all over the medic, but beats the close range rocket that takes everyone else to go in. But Shake doesn't hit it either. Bushman eventually takes on the medic that took so long. But at this rate, are they still in a position where they can survive this one? Everyone had to sack for this one, and Jux is just all on his own, and there is just no chance of letting that escape.
Oh, yeah, he's caught by Domo as well going forward, and they're looking to set up a forward hold without even having their heels up. Will it just be a feed at the end of the day? Papi does trade out for Duo, so that's going to work out nicely. Thomas was going for a hiding play, but he's backed up and looking to get some beam back on him. And yeah, the starting to apply a little bit of cap time. Still is once more fighting, but he's going to get taken out as well. So they've bled 3 players before the beam, and the combo is back to the fight.
Yeah, trading time here, but Witness with a big lead out of their first cap. Gonna make a big difference by the end of it all, I would assume here. Unless 4 fans can start catching up big time with this hold right now. With neither team having yet, there's a chance, but we've seen Witness before. They're gonna try getting the fight towards point long before these Ubers are up in any shape or form, just trying to force out something with the cap time, maybe force a mistake out of this one. And certainly the flanks are making a lot of sudden moves here on blue, but this time around it might go a little bit better than the previous few times we've seen it. Get a kill already, Ixie chased down by Shay as well, weak of the soldier damage they have already. In the meantime, Witness trying to make up for it by bombs on the combo, Juxta weak, maybe get aliens slightly isolated as well, but on point it's just not enough people to withstand one singular bomb there in the end. Get the force out pretty quickly, and 4 fans still on timer here and very much still have the Uber in hand, looking pretty good. Do have to use eventually in the midst of it all, but I don't think they're going to be too upset about it. Auto has advantage, but it's so little. They're going to have to find like a really tiny opening to make this advantage push work if they choose to do it.
Yeah, Pappy is still behind on his opponent's cliff, just waiting for an opportunity to go for that pincer play, that backstab. I think they are aware of him. He did.
Shay behind again. I was about to say, yeah, 4 fans struggled with players from the back line to keep getting value, but Shade, for the second time now, at the right place in the right moment, gets it going once again. Counter-cycle of Witness, however, not any slouches either. Get right in there, know what they need here when the medic dies, make up for it right away. Juxta going down while they're on point as well. Endless spawn time for the blue team. A couple of people still left standing on blue. Bushman even gets a kill out of it in the end, and they're not choosing to delay for this one. They just want to actually get on the clock again. 30 seconds left for 4 fans. Gonna start your countdown here eventually to catch up once more. If it takes Poppy a couple seconds longer to get back to the fight, so be it in this case. And it's gonna be very interesting situation now. 4 fans so close to getting it all, but once again off the point with no advantage.
Rudgeman going in behind, but he's going to get cleaned up pretty quickly. It's bought a bit of space for his team. Ixie is claimed as well, and once more Pappy is trying to go in behind. He's going to sit on that health back. They're going to punish Domo though. Forward aggression here from Nevo and Shay, but Pappy is back in the action, but he's denied as well. Now the chase is onto Auto and Thomas. Thomas just buying a bit of time for his medic to escape. Actually gets the frag onto Dwone, still alive on his own cliff, eventually claimed, but he's bought so much time just dodging away from his opponents. But the pressure is still on, they're still deep onto the Witness Gaming cliff. Alien is jumped as well, but 4 seconds left here for the Frenchies.
Thomas did so much more than buying him time. He just bought them everything that's in store. He stood on cliff for so long, just not dying. The spawns came up before they could leave after trying to kill him. And they're just stuck there in a really awkward position where they're just fresh out of firepower. Everyone reloading. And Witness just comes up fully ready to go again, just into the next fight. Looks really good after that point as well. And we're back where we already came from last round as well. Awkward late forward hold. There hasn't been too many of these after this many close fights in this game. And 4 fans once again just full send on the medic, hoping something sticks, but the damage is enough. And in fact, it backfires tremendously. Solentus passed the pyro, didn't see the bomb coming, and that surely has to be curtains.
Oh, it looked so decent for 4 fans for a while, but I think there were way too many airshot attempts, too many Hollywood airshot attempts there from the soldiers just shooting upward rocket at players that they were never going to hit, and they're not able to claim any kills. It was nicely just kited, and now you can see Uber popped out. There's a little bit of cap time, but it's going to be a round victory for Witness.
Yeah, first forward hold of the round, and it instantly wins them the round here. Looks pretty good on Witness Gaming. 4 fans so close for what it's worth. I jokingly said if the other best teams on the planet can't beat Witness on this map, what chance do they have? But they're getting dangerously close for what it's worth. Witness, however, still just a league above at the moment. 2 rounds up. Map point now. Witness gets 1 more. This map is over. They're getting 3 points on the league tables, getting back towards the top here in style.
Yeah, Pappy again going to the opponent's cliff looking for something. He's gonna find Alien, and that has allowed Thomas to just rush across the point, rush into the combo. Brudgeman is peppered down by the double scouts. Nevo has not long for this world either, and while Auto was picked up by the Frenchies, everything else has worked out in Witness Gaming's favour.
Yeah, that's a costly mistake, I suppose, still, at the end of the day, but it's also the only one, like you said, so it's not too bad just yet here, and if they can keep up the fights on point as they have so far, Even Uber isn't that bad still. However, for fans, unlike before, right, no forward hold again, just right back to the fight you're trying to anyway. So Lentis on the flank, causing some mayhem, does some good damage, ends up killing Dwo as well, as there is just so little space. They only have the cliffside right now. Anything else is just red territory by the looks of it, and they're just unable to take any step forward to point, where we've seen Witness in comparison just love to playing the cap early in these non-Uber situations.
Even just pinned into that one corner, it allows Domo to do so much damage down onto each of them. Roachman again jumping onto the bridge to get a little bit of space. He's going to have to back out. He doesn't have health on him. Alien's quite weak as well. The health in the Frenchies isn't the greatest scenario ever for them. Alien's still waiting for that arrow. It does come up to him now, so they've been able to cap it out with Nevo just taking the crux of the beam, but Sil is looking to pressure in through the connector area.
Doesn't used to that? That's crazy. He was like stuck against the corner after an awkward rocket by the soldier. Luckily, the soldier wasn't close enough to find a good angle for the second shot. Barely gets out of this one alive. Can use so much later now for an actual exchange that's had a chance of going anywhere, and certainly buys them a little bit of time here. Not a ton of space in the end, trying to make something work on the flank, but the soldiers are very weak already here, and the scouts are there to try and just counteract it as fast as they can.
Thomas is on the hunt. He's just chasing forward through the connector. They can't shoot him. They can't see him. He does get the Alien and Dwo frags, and Witness will take that. They will just sit back on the point, get the time ticking back in their favor. They're happy with the scenario just to sit on their lead.
Yeah, looking really solid for Witness now. Lead's not that big right now, maybe, but just keeping it intact, and it's all you really need by the end of the game. Just a little timer slowly trickling away here. Ixie eventually goes down. Nice stuff by Shay, and Dwo might finally open things up a little bit more so towards point than Witness would like them to be, as we've seen before. They like just pushing him into a corner here. I don't think that chance is there anymore for them here. And, awkward one as well. Papi trades on point as all of 4 fans tries to get over the cap. Doesn't get much cap with this, but at least the numbers are good after this little scuffle on point, and Witness does not like that fact. Tries to just get Uber across, get them to use here, waste so much time. As much as they can anyway here. Flashes maybe as well would be nice, but Thomas just realizes, wait a second, if I'm leaving this way, I'm just leaving through the flank. And oh, everyone's trying to help out as well, just puts himself in a really bad position. Tunnel vision to flank, to try to help out their own flanking player, but just completely overwhelmed by the whole of Witness.
Brilliant from Domo just to see the opportunity, seeing that everyone was watching that connector that Thomas had just duped himself out of, and just plows himself forward across the point with that crit heal, that full 260, does so much damage onto all those players stuck on that concrete area, and very, very easy fight victory for Witness, and now they have a considerable lead in this round.
Okay, it's the third vote of the game. Every round has one. This time around, the Pyro does force out a little bit more space. Alien gets behind as well. Can't hit anything on the medic though. Gus does force people to fall back. Does get a couple kills as well. It's always awkward to have the Pyro still alive by the end, but more importantly, Papi still on the flank here. No one has noticed him in the backline as well. 3 shots on the medic while the Pyro is too busy trying to hit flares instead of protecting the combo at all. Juxta once again will go down, and these forward holds just been rough for offense. And the fact that there's been so little really just made it hard to actually figure out how they want to approach them, I think, as well.
Yeah, they're breaking through the forward hold pretty quickly, but then they're just getting wrapped by that soldier. They're not aware of when he's coming in. Papi, again, just biding his time and eventually coming in with a clutch moment, but Silenta just instantly pins down Juxta as they try and rush in through main, and there we go. It's going to be a clean victory and a much, much easier round for Witness.
Yeah, I mean, if anything is to go by here, then is that Witness Gaming just used the time very well to really figure out how to break the opponents. Anything, defenses, offenses here really well by the end of it all. 4 fans looking good for quite a while, but in the end, sometimes you just get outdone by the better team. After a close battle, 3 points to Witness. Looking pretty good today.
Yeah, definitely looked like Witness took a little bit of time to get going. I wasn't super confident on how they were playing those first couple of rounds, where they were just like attempting to just bait the cap and get some cap time when there was still a demo man up, when there was very little pressure onto Alien. But as the game went on, Alien was able to have reduced impact. They got a lot more kind of threat down from their soldiers going in behind, and the Frenchies never really had a read on whether Papi and Sil were going directly into them, whether they were baiting it behind, whether they were waiting, and when they were coming in. And pretty much every time Papi or Sil went for a play, it came off.
Yeah, big question mark for me going into this game was going to be Shay. He's the new player on the team in Premiership in this matchup to begin with. So all eyes on him on the map like product to be competing with the likes of Ixie and Thomas. It's a tough look. I don't think he did bad at all, but it's if you're just not on that level, it's just tough, right, to keep up with them. I mean, has been doing well this season for sure, but the step up from Div 1 to Prem is difficult no matter what.
Yeah, very, very difficult. He also looked at times like he wasn't quite on the same wavelength as the rest of his team. I think his DM is pretty solid. Maybe not quite up to the level of the Witness Scouts, but certainly he's no slouch in that regard. But you could see the Witness gaming guys are much, much more on the same page. They're going forward together. They're applying pressure at the same time. Auto and Thomas especially are just always going back and forward together and knowing when they can apply the W and when they have to back up. Shay at times is just caught a little bit uncertain exactly where to play and ends up in bad scenarios where you're 1v2, where you're 1v3, and that kind of reflects on the logs.
Yeah, that's kind of creating the openings where Jaxa just gets flanked after the forward hold, right? Just everyone's so focused, okay, we have this space now, time to go in, and you just miss one thing and it's just looking all over all of a sudden. That's that much for product King of the Hill out of the equation. Didn't look too bad for 4 fans, and I'm sure against other teams that is still not a bad pick potentially here. So all the upsides look pretty good for what it's worth. But against the likes of Witness Gaming, that's still a tough matchup no matter what. It will remain a tough matchup, however. We're not on King of the Hill anymore. Now it's back to 5 CP Snakewater up next. Hard to judge who picked what. I mean, you gotta assume Witness was just fiending on the opportunity that someone let them play King of the Hill for a change, and this has to be the Frenchies pick.
I'd assume so. You'd have to be very, very confident to go out and pick product against Witness, but like I said earlier, maybe they had a map that maybe they got slammed in a scrim, maybe a map they just really has an autoban or whatever, and that's why product got through.
For what it's worth, this is one of the 2 maps. I think the other one's Granary that Mandem beat Witness on, so maybe that's also where they hope to see themselves have some chances in that regard, right? They choked on this before, when surely, I mean, no one wants to see themselves worse than anyone else, so I'm sure the Frenchies think themselves confidently just as good, if not better, as Mandem. If they can do it, then surely we can as well, with some good confidence there. And I mean, after 3-0, maybe not, but it's one of those fabled close 3-0s where the rounds were really good, but the end product just wasn't, so I don't know, maybe there's still a chance.
I mean, yeah, it's 2 double overtime rounds, and as we always say, 5ZP, especially a slowish map like Snakewater, plays out very, very differently to Koth. You can just, on Koth, you have no opportunity to kite those kind of lost team fights. As soon as you're a couple players down, you have to be back in sport or you lose your med. On a map like this, you can take trades. You can just run back and wait for spawns, give up a point here and there. It's a back and forth tug of war, much more so than Koth. So it does play out differently. I'd say probably. I'd assume, because everyone's just so used to playing so much 5CP and they'll be so familiar with Snakewater that the Frenchies presumably would be very comfortable on this map. So if they can bring this same kind of level of play we saw on product, but they are just a little bit more comfortable, I think they're definitely in with a decent shout.
Yeah, I mean, one thing for sure, right? We didn't have Witness on stream for the last 2 weeks, 1 week? I don't know, there's like whatever the gap was between we last watched them with the games that just didn't happen as well, in mind. Obviously, the question mark is how they're performing this season overall after the tough start, and it's looking pretty good, especially with the run-up to LAN now, and the iSeries online qualifier coming up as well. I think you can find that as well in the chat with LAN.tf. I believe we should have a comment for that. I mean, they gotta be on top form, otherwise it's gonna be just a waste of time even trying to get in there.
I mean, from what I've heard, they're the only teams signed up at the moment, so you'd assume they'd be pretty motivated. There were some question marks, obviously. They lose week 1. Is this a team that's kind of just zombieing through? Is it a team that's not motivated because they're not expecting international attendance at iSeries? But they are signed up. They assume they're going to play the qualifier, assume they're going to want that those tickets paid for. So certainly probably for the next week or so, they're going to be a formidable team to face off against.
Yeah, and I mean, for both of these rosters, this wouldn't even be the final game of the week, so getting some good warm-up as well for the rest of this, it's pretty important. I think Witness Gaming has, almost certainly an easier matchup coming up. I believe they have Garda for fans, still has a number of games left standing, including some tough ones as well. I believe Swift has to also still go through them at some point, so... a legally distinct Swift, I should say.
Yep, definitely not Swift.
Slow, that's what they are now. Alright, let's see what it is. Up next, Snakewater between 4Fans and Witness Gaming. Witness Gaming looking pretty good. All things considered, 4Fans put up a valiant effort on the first map. Wasn't quite enough 3-0 on King of the Hill product for Witness Gaming, the reigning champions, looking to take home one more map now for Fans, with the last chance to get any points tonight on Snakewater.
And we're going to see the launch coming in immediately by the Frenchies. Both soldiers jumping in. Duo's going to lose his 1v1 to Sil, but Bridgman is going to get himself back out of there, but that's allowing Pappy and Sil to go in countering, and it's just a crunch in that saw area. A big frag from Domo onto the Juxta, who was trying to escape, but it's going to be 6 people cleanly up and out of that mid-fight for Witness Game, and they're looking to already push on to last.
Yeah, looking good here. That's already all the way onto the last point as well. There's not even any second capper as well. Ixie just slowly strolling his way back to the second point here as well. That does give 4Fans a good chance to fight back a little bit. You was out early at the very least. It's an awkward situation. You don't get yourself into all too much here with the awkward spawn camp here right now, but that's just immediate captain as well. Everyone's forced to get out of point 2 down with that right away. Dropping the captain for sure, but they're just outnumbered for the rest of this fight now.
Yeah, and they're just one by one just feeding into that machine of Witness Game, and Thomas is still healthy, still taking the fight, still has the beam on him, and eventually that blob of Witness Gamers is able to claim that first round very, very cleanly, very, very quickly.
Yeah, there's only so much 4Fans can do, right? We saw the sniper try to do something, the pyro hope to get space back as soon as possible and just get the U out of their faces as much as they can, but in the end they're still all over the last point already, and I mean, it's hard. Sometimes it's hard to hold last points with a full setup, minus maybe a gun, and they didn't even get any good position out of this one at all. So no chance to turn around. Incredibly quick round. 2 minutes off the clock. We're already back to the next mid fight right away. Witness Gaming speedrunning this right now, but far from over yet. Fast round just means there's still plenty of time to bring this one back here. Looking a lot slow on the next mid fight after, for the time being, but someone's going to make the first move here eventually, and it looks like it might be the red team here making moves from both directions. Red soldiers just in left and right, getting good damage here. Not even getting close on anyone, just really putting them in an awkward situation. We've seen this on product as well. Just soldiers on both sides and the combo pushing up at the right time to just completely farm a team in one single spot.
Yeah, Bridgman went fully in behind there and ends up in his enemy's saw, but he was stuck there while Witness were just fully sending it into the enemy team, fully pushing across the point, utilising that 6v5 scenario, and Bridgman just ends up jumping into that kind of double scouts, wasn't able to salvage anything at the end of the day, out of sync with his other soldier duo as well. They haven't seen Sil here. Oh, they finally do spot him. He's going to get one rocket onto Nevo, but not able to finish it up.
Good enough. 4Fans gets to fight back for a little bit longer on the second point. Gives them enough time to get you up for sure, I would imagine, at this rate. Does slow things down. It's just what they want to see here. It's not this swinging return to form after losing a round on the mid-fight. Still lost it in the end, but one step at a time. You have plenty of time.
Yeah, 1-0 down, they have a pick. They're not looking to do much with it, just building up this Uber. Happy to sit back on second, expecting Witness to make a move of their own. It's going to be Pappy going in for the bomb. He lands on Juxta as well. All Juxta holds on to the Uber, down to 33. There's stickies and rockets coming his way. Might even get peppered. Ixie was there to look for something, but crucially walks into Alien's trap. It's a little bit of re-aggression actually here off those 2 picks. Ixie, Pappy, nice little picks. He even traded out for one. It's going to be a nice little trade here for Witness. They're going to get a lot of damage down onto Alien. Sil is looking to crunch them as well. He is cleaned up, but the health isn't the best for the Frenchies. They're looking to bust. They've got some damage down onto Auto, but it's going to shake out with a big bomb into... And actually, they're going to pick up Domo there, so maybe they'll continue to fight.
They don't like their chances, though. They're like stuck on the low ground there. Not a single step into mid has been taken after the exchange. Even with the demo man down, it's just kind of rough. It's one of the flanks making it seem more annoying. Ixie pushing really deep. Maybe a bit too much so, actually. He forces people back. They deep pretty quickly. The rest of the red team trying to pick up the slack and not doing a bad job of it, but it's all still weak. Gotta be incredibly careful here that it doesn't fall apart. But, I mean, what are you gonna do? Bomb past Thomas? I don't really think so. So that's just 2 scouts trying to make a move right now for the blue squad here. And there's also so much Capam already need to keep in mind as well, while the spawns are just not there in time for Fans at all just yet. And try as they might, they just can't reclaim a single bit of ground against Witness.
Yeah, it looked like an opportunity there. Butchman got in onto Auto, but Thomas just shut him down with a crucial meat shot before he could fire out that last second rocket. It was split seconds in it, but big bomb from Celentis on to Alien's going to pepper him back a little bit of cap time as well by Pappy, and Ixie's committed deep as well. He's going to pick up Alien. There's not too many defenders here. It's only the Uber coming out onto Shay. Duo is up now as well. There's a counter Uber coming out onto Thomas. They're just running about all over the place. No damage dealt on either side, but the collapse is in by Witness. Doma's just going to stand on the point, and that's going to be enough.
Alright, well, if it's not a big swing on a mid-fight right away, this game is basically already over. If they can't find the footing now, you have to come back from 3-0 as well at that point. It needs to happen now. Coming back from 2-0 in Premiership is already rare enough as is most of the time. And even more than that would be a tough ask for fans. This has to be a huge comeback now.
Yeah, although they need to perhaps work out something significantly on this mid-fight to turn it in their favour. Sil is going to go into his opponent's kitchen to just sit there, wait for a play. Duo ends up coming in with the bomb, but just eats the damage that was waiting for Budgeman. Alien's knocked up onto the high ground, but Pappy is there to clean him up. There is a descent onto Thomas. They're going to clean him up, but I think that's going to be just about all they get. Sil does go down, but everyone else crumbling for the Frenchies. Duo's going to get chased as well. Ixie, full health, is able to chase it. He actually does a decent job trying to get himself out of there, has enough rockets to escape, get himself back to last, but at the end of the day, Auto lives with that Uber.
That's so big for them there, for keeping the medic alive and all of this. Will keep the ball rolling for Witness. 3-0 looking likely right now. All we have is, at least for once, time to set the gun. Sniper on the field as well here. Surprised it's not chase sniping, but I guess either of them would be very suitable snipers at the end of the day. But I mean, you can be good as sniper as you want. You're not going to get more than one chance, although this one most likely, and maybe not even that. Hopping through, flashing everyone, not a chance to hit anything. Trying to even snipe long enough to get someone behind the beam, maybe not happening. Thomas right on point after the gun goes down, gets the call back. Hey, help us out with the soldiers, and you know what? He's been doing a pretty decent job of that today. Clean them up with no most damage combined. Back to point it goes with 2-player advantage here, and what are they going to do? You can't do anything against these guys. It seems Witness just fully on form.
Yeah, that definitely wasn't the cleanest last push. It took them a while to take that sentry gun out because Domo was juggled a little bit behind. That Uber wasn't through the shutter immediately, but unfortunately I think it was Brudgeman bombed onto Domo. Thomas was already applying some cap time. Didn't quite go in with the block with the rest of his team and ends up just feeding a little bit, and you know, when you're jumping those soldiers in and you're not getting damage down, eventually you're just going to lose to the extra pressure from those 6 men.
Alright, last ditch effort here, 2 rounds more, Witness keeps this going. Something needs to change tremendously, trying to get a bit of an aggressive left side mid fight going as well, but Bushman goes up high and behind, finds some good damage on Auto, but any bit of damage they do just gets outmatched immediately. Witness the only ones getting kills here for the most part. Domo eventually falls, but that doesn't really matter. They just stunted the early aggression so much, and it's just not going to amount to much in the end. Player behind had no support. They tried to play aggressive early, but no one could last long enough standing forward to actually team up with the player in the back.
Yeah, it looked very kind of disorganized and fragmented. They weren't sure exactly what kind of zone they were going for when everyone was spread out. Juxta ended up just only able to heal Alien, and he does get himself out of there. They do have an Uber for last this time, but 0-3 down, they needed a better mid-fight than that. It wasn't convincing at all. Looking like they're going to continue to pressure out to second here with those 2 picks, which is the kind of pace they need to work on.
Techniques change. You like the chances with the soldier picks they have. Should be able to demand some decent amount of space. Witness slowly leaving a little bit here. Do have Duo going for the backlines play, but they went the long way around. You hope for them to be in choke there in kitchen instead. No chance to get the kill. At least he can get out just fine. That's not the problem in the end. Problem is making something happen from here now, and messed up in its own way. They haven't really gotten around to that yet. This map to make an aggressive move outside of it.
Yeah, Butchman doing his best to try and shut down, but double soldier send in behind from Witness. It's a little bit of a bait on one part. There's still waiting in the backlines, looking for a backstab opportunity. Thomas is going to get a crucial arrow there in what was an awkward scenario, and there is Sil coming in, taking out Alien and taking out the demo man. Juxta and Nevo looking to leave to last. Duo is trying to leave as well, but there's no escape. He's cut off, and now just 2 up for the Frenchies trying to hold against 5.
I mean, they're gonna get the Uber up, which is nice, but they have to sit here for so long, and Auto doesn't have to use for the longest time here, just making this fall its worth, and uses incredibly late to get the rest of the team in here, make the better Uber they have here, just be used to get the rest of the space covered onto the last point, get the cap time started, forcing people out, and look at that, the damage immediately there for every single player that's stepping out of line on the side of 4 fans, and at this point they're just killing them because they can.
Yeah, they just look absolutely clockwork, mechanical perfection from Witness Gaming. The way they just go in together, they just pull themselves back, bait a little bit of the aggression out, absorb that aggression, clean up the overextending frags, and then just go back in with their numbers and cap the point out. It's very, very smooth, very, very nice.
Yeah, especially on the second point. That's not an easy push to make happen at all, and they just make it look as easy. Last round, potentially, Witness Gaming on match point can run away with all 6 points on the league tables tonight and stay up at the top. Let's see how it goes in the last potential mid-fight of the match. Once again, offense needs to find some drastic changes to make something happen. A lot slower than the previous one. The aggressive one didn't quite work out so well here. Bushman trying to play from the flank. Once again, different angle, but still can't find any success. At least they find good damage onto Domo. So that's cut off on the flank as well. Things are falling somewhat into place. 2 down each. Dwo incredibly weak down. The crit squeak finally coming out, trying to be the difference maker. Big pipe on the medic. Takes a long time to happen though, and that's enough time for Witness to just combine their forces and destroy this combo the moment they step a foot forward.
Yeah, unfortunate scenario. Was a much stronger mid-fight there for the Frenchies, but they just kind of tunnel vision that crits. Alien wanting to go forward, making sure securing a frag onto Auto. The Uber was going to come up shortly for Auto, but the important thing was all those players above the point for Witness were able to just drop down, clean up Juxta, and despite Auto going down, it's a 1 mid-fight for Witness, and yeah, probably going to end up a stalemate on mid, but the way the pace of the game has been so far, probably not long before we're into that win limit.
Yeah, this is where those old stats we used to have on one point would be very funny to look at, because the map of map possession would just be entirely right at this point. They have not had anything but the second point of their own on 4 fans so far, and True Witness Gaming isn't looking to change that fact anytime soon. As we head into maybe a little bit of downtime here for them to figure something out on 4 fans, but not for long, because we've seen Witness make lots and lots of moves on non-Uber before in this position, and this is no exception. Just everyone's trying to pile up already on the flank here, just happily taking a fight. Scouts both weak. It eventually finds the cleanup, but they still just outnumber him. They get the numbers in when they need to, while making a move on grass, and it both works out in the end.
Yeah, they tried to stack a 3v2 there in that source scenario, but ends up they just trade 3v2, which isn't what they would have wanted, losing 3 players for those 2 frags they got, and now they're stuck on their last. They do have the Uber up, they do have the sniper up. Could be in for an extended stay, but Witness have been on the ball so far.
Yeah, last ditch effort now for fans on last once again. Sniper up, this time it's Jay, not Nebo. I don't know if that changes much in the end here, though. We've seen Witness just flash everyone at the right time anyway. So that's for nice little skip jump into last. Doesn't quite get the demo kill, doesn't matter. Here's backup. Sticky gets the kill here. Just circles back around with like 50 HP to try to get the sniper as well. Makes a lot of space with this one. Gets him right up to point, and it's never been looking so easy to get into last, but they're far from done just yet. The Uber still waste a lot of time here, and they're not having numbers at for either. Gotta just find one opportunity here as the point, and that might be it. Big focus fire. Got Dwo already. Scout really weak, but they're barely staying alive on the French. So Jay and Nebo hanging on to life. They're beamed up heavily once again, and it might just keep this intact.
Yeah, there was a nice little try from Witness just to utilize how much space cylinders have made to get some cap time, but the trade ended up going okay for the Frenchies. Sil's going to get caught again in the lobby area, so 5v6, Witness will probably just settling back on second for a little bit, but probably not long before they go again. They've actually built slightly better on the Frenchies side. I guess also is just disconnected a little bit, but it's probably not going to be too meaningful, as once more lobby is going to be occupied by Witness.
Back on Sniper this as well for more than one player. In fact, Jay on one side, Solantis on the other. Not someone we obviously seen too much on Rifle, but has that ever stopped anyone in Premiership before? Let's just find out if it's going to be worth the faith they have into it, I suppose, here. But unlike before, this is like the first real last hold. Turns out, until so far, there was no stalemate, because it's so easy to avoid having a stalemate game when you are just winning by that much. Turns out, this might change now a little bit here as things slow down tremendously.
Yeah, it's the first time the Witness kind of pressure onto Last has relented enough that they've been able to even get that sentry gun up, and now that they have that sentry gun, now they have that dispenser, now the medic can hold forward, it does kind of settle down to this extended kind of last hold that pretty much everyone does at this stage. Sil is actually going to go onto the sniper, win that SVS against Shay, so has an opportunity now to maybe go in for a bit more of aggressive peak. looking in towards drop down to try and make something happen, but maybe with Thomas going down, he'll think better of it. Who knows?
Oh, no, so there's another one. At least it's 2 down each. That makes it a lot less palatable, I suppose. But it's still very awkward. Sure makes your effort you might have put in as a player to get to like Div 1 Prem Sniper a little bit more annoying when Silente just shows up and immediately wins the first Sniper v Sniper against you to 6 this game.
Yeah, I'd say he's unabashed. He's going to continue sniping. He does get that pick onto Pappy, allows him to peek a little bit more into lobby. He's going to have a wall of players, including Engineer in front of him. He's going to have the beam on him, and everyone from Witness is just going to do their best to sit outside that sight line, not to peek him as much as possible. Sil immediately peeks him, eats a bit of a body shot, has to go back to the beam, but they're just going to allow that to get themselves in through under. Sniper can't obviously watch all these entrances at the same time, so they're going to shuffle their way into that lobby. But actually, Alien's able to peek in, take out Ixie. Now Thomas goes down to pipes as well. Alien just putting so much damage, and Auto's quite low as well. He might get forced. There's a headshot onto Domo. Auto's stuck in a corner in the shutter. He's going to try and surf a little pipe out of there. The medic, though, Jux is already out. Auto's caught in behind with an Uber ready to go. Nevo is going to force it out of him.
Almost just starts through the entire area as well. There's nowhere to go in here. And what are they going to do at this point? I guess we're just going to spawn camp a guy? I mean, well, that's not a choice they have here, but no, everyone's just coming back, trying to do it as quick as they can. I mean, if we clean up these guys behind quick, and oh boy are they, you're just going to have numbers set for the rest of the fight that you might have given up space for, but you know, what are the rest of them going to do now?
Yeah, Sil was trying to buy a little bit of his time for his medic by just getting repeatedly air shots while his medic tried to
escape. They capped the second point in the meantime, that's worth something, right?
Probably not for long. The Frenchies are now got their heels back, they're now going to push out to second, but maybe slowed their opponents down just a little bit. But maybe we'll finally see an opportunity now with the Frenchies' full Uber advantage. Maybe they'll finally take that midpoint.
This is a little bit disappointing from my perspective. I was hoping to see Witness, top Prem player skill show us how they dismantled the last hold, but we never got that far, I'm afraid. We'll never find out if they actually can do it. Back around it goes, 4 fans onto mid. This Uber doesn't kill anyone. Definitely an effort made on the damage, but just can't quite get there. This might be the first time they've been capping the midpoint on this map. I don't know if it's lasting very long either.
Oh, Sil went in, but a nice little surf on Jux is going to get himself out of there, but unfortunately the rest of his players weren't able to surf with him. They're just going to eat all the incoming damage. They're going to back up the Ubo as well. Wasn't that fruitful. Neva's actually got a nice little frag onto Ixie on the flank. He's in behind, not on the most amount of health. Auto's coming up to Uber shortly. There's already pressure down on him. Domo's caught out a little bit overextended, but can they finish him off? No, he's going to get an arrow. There's even a health pack ready for him if they want. The Uber's actually out with the Auto going down very, very low. Happy's probably going to clean up Butch. When Alien commits as well, he's going to go down. It's a bit of a feed by the Frenchies here.
Almost get the mid back, that was probably what they were really trying to aim for right now, but it's not quite enough. Tries to come back and rush this cap to still go through, but it's not happening. A fight on 2 fronts, they're winning on Neva, it looks like in the end. And Witness now with the position at the last point. However, it's still a little bit sketchy. Don't have actually any advantage here. Never might still be down, but I mean, actually the turns when he had they just get a body on the point somehow. Everyone's on that, but no one's actually looking at anything. And everyone on Witness just in with this at once.
Yeah, they get 3 frags for it as well. Domo's still in. It's taken an age for them to go. Pappy launches himself in, pops Jugs it in the air. He's down to 20 health. Domo's still just about alive. Surely he'll get taken out eventually by that little pistol by Nevo. And now with 3 down for Witness, 1 Silenta's just respawning, an opportunity for the Frenchies to push out.
Alright, back onto the fight on second. Domo still nowhere to be found for the Witness side. Gonna cost them a lot of damage potentially, but that hasn't stopped him so far. Still up high in the sky, trying to turn some heads. He goes up pretty early, and it looks like there's not enough time wasted there, where everyone else can just run in and do some damage when people turn around. Well, Fans getting away with it, gets the Cappy just before Domo arrives back to the fight. Just before Witness gets Zebras, well, I'm sure they would have played off that even if they could have, but option got denied with that. And oh no, they're trying to run in, and much like the forward holds on maps prior, just something slips past him trying to run in quickly.
Yeah, that was definitely spotted there by Nevo, I think, the pocket scout. He must have caught it, but Jugs just committed a little bit too quickly before his scout, and there was so many stickies there. It's going to be a big drop. Auto was claimed in the ensuing melee, but there's already cap time on last. Thomas is going to Actually, look for the frag onto Alien. Still dies as well somehow, so the Frenchies will live for another day.
Alright, just hanging on for dear life. One thing is for sure, they now lasted longer on this map than they have on Product. Which is, some teams can't have said this season, after the log stages I've seen, so that's something, I suppose. But it's just might not mattering in the end. Let's see. Don't really have much advantage, but oh yeah, that's actually the bright side ending right there.
It's potentially enough advantage to push away. It's like 20-30%, so they could definitely make something of this. The Frenchies, they're trying to build it up as well. But the problem is you're going to be set up against 6 fully buffed players ready to go. There's stickies up once more from Domo. He's got them everywhere. He's got some low, he's got some catwalk, he's got some covering saw. And they actually dropped Nevo out of the Uber. The Uber's juggle. This is about as bad an entry as they can. And he gets absolutely destroyed, jumping in on the high ground by Pappy. Now Pappy's jumping in, cleans Alien up. They've just holding W now. Thomas is going to try and fight Bunchman in the corner. He buys enough time, but does eat him up. He's got another frag potentially onto Duo. Doesn't have the most ammo, but he doesn't really need it. The pistol does the work. Thomas gets another frag. Is looking to continue to press forward with Uber for auto up very shortly.
The messed up part is that Thomas literally wasn't trying that before. He pulls out the melee weapon to try and clown on the opponent, realizes, wait a second, I'm way too far away. Just switches to pistol, doesn't even bother reloading the scattergun, and just the entire clip into the opponent, gets the kill anyway. Sometimes you're just too good to fail. I shouldn't say that this season, because they already have failed, but I mean, tonight at the very least, it's very true.
Yeah, no, full Uber up for auto. They're just posturing themselves up to that shutter. It's going to be onto Domo and Thomas. They see the sentry gun very quickly. It's going to get taken out. Duo's going to get caught as well by Thomas. Thomas is going to find the other soldier before they even start to apply pressure to the cap point. It's a couple of stickies. They're just going to try and bait off it, but they already have those 2 soldier frags. That's going to allow Pappy to jump in. Thomas still applying the cap time. No one in to block. Stickies dealt with, and there we go. A longer 5th round, but eventually a 5-0.
Yeah, Thomas just steps on point, forces Demo out of the corner, and it's just easy from there. He didn't even bother, wait for anything. He just stepped on point to get cap time and realized, yeah, he's going to come this way, and he was very correct. Gets this cap up, 5 points for Witness in the map, 3 more points for the week, a whole 6-point sweep for them here, looking really good. In all that talk about 4fans being a contender for the playoffs feels a little silly after results like this. Probably a little disingenuous to say that, because I don't think most teams this season are going to be looking like Witness Gaming did today. But I guess that's just good news for them. Yeah, continuing the run up towards at this point, you just have to have the 2nd place to make sure of, I guess, unless Mandem chokes one as well, much like they did. However, on that part, it looks also fairly unlikely so far for Mandem. So that holding in on 2nd place, looking good for them. Back on 2nd, as results slowly even out between all the Premiership teams that have to catch up playing all the games. Yeah, Witness Gaming has now played as much as most of them. And 18 points, 2nd place, looking pretty good.
Yeah, it certainly looked very strong. Not too much to glean from the logs, from a 5-0. I think the kind of standout thing is kind of the 5 mid-fight victories for Witness. Kind of tells a story, and even if there were moments for 4fans, particularly in the last round, where they applied themselves and made it a little bit back and forth, if you're losing every single mid-fight, no way you can win the game overall. I mean, 4fans, they do move on. I think they're playing Garda later this week. Is that Thursday? I think I'm casting that.
Yes, they're playing Garda, and then still have formerly Swift, Mandem, and Wheelchair to go through for the rest of the season. So the ones we have to catch up the most, I think, with everyone else.
Yeah, that Garda one's potentially interesting. I'd say they could both end up making playoffs, but certainly the victor of that on Thursday will be in a very good spot. Although, based on tonight, regardless of who ends up getting those playoff spots, they're not going to be particularly close to Witness or Mandem, likely.
Yeah, it didn't look like it in head-to-head matchups. They did play against those teams already here, but you gotta try, otherwise you will never catch up at all. Witness Gaming still looking like one of the teams to beat for sure. It won't be easy to dethrone them a 2nd time at this rate, I would imagine, but maybe Mandem has it in them to make it happen twice. Certainly it will be interesting. I don't think we will see them this week, I'm afraid. However, they still have to go through formerly Swift and 4fans as well. That's going to be some interesting matchups, because 4fans, despite what map 2 might have looked like, had a really good map 1, and I mean, the guys from Swift tie everyone, so who's to say they can't do it against the teams currently above them in the tables? It's always possible, but if nothing else, narrative now firmly back in Witness's corner that the GOATs might be back a little bit.
Yeah, possibly. They certainly have looked very strong since that week 1 game that we thankfully didn't cast. I don't know if
I
you
was
were
paid
paid off
good
there.
money for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's getting back to form, especially for LAN. It's exactly what you like to see here when I have them in top form, because we know what they look like in top form at LAN, and it's always something great to behold for the viewers. So don't want to miss out on that when LAN time comes around. And on the qualifiers as well. I think this coming weekend on Essentials Twitch channel, so make sure if you didn't follow already on Essentials TF for Huckstore TF's charity event, and better get on that now to not miss any action. But like we already alluded to, lots more games to come. Let's just make the quick rundown as well. We have Virtus Pro against Wheelchair from last week tomorrow. That's the only game that's currently our 7th and 8th place team. Virtus Pro, many close calls, kind of like TLR, but just only one map win out of it all. Looking rough for them there. That's the match for the bottom to see who can escape. And then on Thursday, there's 3 games. Definitely not streamed. Witness game against Virtus Bra. Because we've just seen this, and for fans beat Virtus Pro, so I think you can figure out the rest. However, on stream will be 4 fans against God of Terry, like we said. Should be a really good one. Gada played pretty well this week. 4 fans with a rough start, now have a bit of proving ground for themselves here. We'll see who comes out on top of that one. Like you said, very important for playoffs. And on TeamTV2 as well. It's the same URL you see on your Twitch browser right now, except with a 2 at the end. Another week 5 game. TLR against Wheelchair. Another game at the bottom 3 spots. Wheelchair might have escaped the last place already at that point. Who knows? But TLR still has something to prove as well, and escape the sponsor curse so many people have in esports so far suffered from. Maybe this is where it goes all back up again, but that's for future us to see. And yeah, we'll just catch you next time.
Good night.